We are just starting our Regal Live episode 74, and you're going to listen to three of us today who have been on the PCC journey with Regal at various point of time. And I would like us to kind of give a quick intro, just the names, and you can always look us up in LinkedIn. So I'm Priya Sundaram, a life and leadership development coach, and I have Subramani with me, who is a leadership coach. He's joining in from Mumbai, and we also have Bhavani joining in, and she is an executive and leadership coach as well. So we'll further uncover more on our individual PCC journey in the next 20-25 minutes. Okay, so. Hey, friends, let's directly dive in with what we have planned as an agenda for today. Probably the first question that we would kind of, mull over is what has been our driving force for taking up PCC journey? So, Mani can go first, and Bhavani can then, and I can conclude it. Yeah, over to you, Mani.
Sure. Thanks, Priya. Thanks for setting the ball rolling. So, I may face intermittent network issue joining in from Mumbai. The weather is bad, so kindly excuse for that. Uh, so the question about why PCC, right? That's what you're asking, Priya. Uh,
Yeah.
so I think for me, the reasons are like the definition of coaching as per ICF is maximizing personal and professional potential. So I guess the reasons lie on both sides. For me, professional reasons were very obvious because having done ACC, I felt that there was a need for PCC credential because it could open more doors. And because there were many interactions I was having with people in the market, and they were looking for PCC coaches specifically. Not that people who were ACC credential were not good, but they had certain criteria, and so I felt that's one thing which will happen. Um, I think there were some reasons for me also to continue the journey because I felt to keep the saw sharpened. Having done ACC, not stopping there to continue the credentialing journey, because some way I felt that when you keep doing credentials, it's also kind of a proof that you are learning, a stamp of consistency, competence. You are continuously growing, developing. I think those were the kind of reasons which I got into PCC for at that moment. But I would say a lot of personal reasons which actually came into play as I started the journey. And uh, I think the biggest probably reason for me was when our cohort started. The title of the cohort was From Becoming to Being. And I think that was something which kind of captured for me that personal reason, because becoming is still a doing part, a journey. Being is more of a state, and I wondered, what will PCC do for me in those terms? And I think that was curiosity, that was the excitement with which I got into this kind of code. And I was the part of the pilot, so without knowing the curriculum, without knowing anything, I think that trust and safety which was there with the mentors just got me into the course. I think, yeah.
Awesome, Mani. Awesome. So the journey from becoming to being actually. So from doing to being. So that was, I think, the main drive to jump into a wagon where we didn't had any, clear line of sight of what's in the agenda or anything. But then you trusted and you kind of, took on the PCC journey. What about you, Bhavani?
So for me, I think a couple of things. I tried to become a coach in 2013, and it didn't happen the way I wanted it to. So when I embarked on this journey again in 2021, I was like head, all hands, all legs, all body into this mission. And so very quickly within 4 months, my ACC was done, and literally, Priya, I submitted PCC on the ACC on 16 Jan, and 17 Jan was my first PCC session, because I said if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it full on and the whole hog. And that's kind of I think it was one of the driving forces for wanting to be that professional standard which the market is demanding if you are going to be in a professional coach. So on a professional side, it was because I decided that I'm not going to do it half baked this time. I'm going to do it full on, and I wanted to make this my second, my career path eventually. And so at that point, I was still in full-time employment, but I was very clear this time that I wanted to do it. So for professionally, that was the reason. I think on a personal front, also, while Mani talked about, being, I think I was, and I don't want to say it this way, but I felt so connected with the community of Regal. It was like, I had done my last coaching qualification in the UK, and it was slightly different when you come here. And I mean, we were in the same cohort, Priya, so you know that camaraderie and the bonding that we had, and it was like a drug. I probably decided to go for it because I wanted more of that. I wanted more of that spirit, that community, that support that I got during my ACC. And I'm like, what better way to do it than commit to the PCC? So it was a win-win for me because I was professionally moving that direction. Personally, I wanted that camaraderie, that bonding, and I got it from my PCC. So I think that would be my reason for continuing.
Awesome. Awesome, Bhavani. I think that's one of the point that also kind of motivated me to take a PCC. But honestly, when I did my ACC, I was super confident at that point. I was like, okay, I got this, I can handle this, and I'm going to start my business. So my entire focus was building my website and, figuring out what next steps for the business. But the more I started interacting with clients, I hit some kind of an invisible resistance where I felt I need to continue in this path and do a lot of self work for myself because, in service for the client, I felt ACC is very process driven or tool driven per se, whereas PCC, just the number of hours that you're putting in terms of 500 hours and the detailed, classroom learning sessions, the assignments and everything, it kind of takes you a few steps deeper. And also, like you said, the ecosystem recharges you and kind of supports you. So this, I took a break of 1 year between my ACC and PCC, and then I took 2 years to complete my PCC. So it was a good 3.5, 4 years. So in Subhash's language, what I'm seeing is probably ACC is probably moving from, an unconscious incompetence to a conscious competence, which we are holding on to. But PCC is initiating you into from that conscious competence into an unconscious competence. I know that's been started. I don't know where it ends, but it feels that okay, there is a little more confidence, a little more authenticity in what we are doing beyond the structure of what ICF has kind of offered. Um, so that's how it has helped me. The second question, okay, you want to add anything, Mani, to that?
Mani, you're on mute.
All our internet is acting up
I'm
today.
so sorry. Yeah. So I was saying I resonate with what you say, especially the depth which comes because of the sheer number of hours you put in. And I recall when we started our journey, the mentor said that this is more of a pull course. It's not a push course. So what you ask for, you will get. I think in that sense, a PCC journey is a much deeper self journey rather than just getting told about competencies in other. When you look at the same competencies from different aspects, I think that's what the deepening comes in.
Very true. Very true.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And it's surprising that every time we meet, we can look at the same competencies from so many different angles. It never ends. It just feels like an infinitely long journey. However, PCC kind of, the moment it gives you that authenticity and that confidence, now you're market ready as well in a much better way than, from your ACC
Yeah.
journey. So my next question, organic question is, what shifted for us personally as well as professionally after we have done our PCC?
You want to go first, Bhavani? This?
Sure. So I think um, somewhere along the same time of being on this journey, I also had that courage to take a call to go part time in my role that I was working full time. So for me, the shift happened in multiple ways. The first shift was the fact that I found the courage to actually make this profession a serious thing. I didn't know when I took it. I wasn't sure when. But when I started doing it, I felt more confident about the when. And, the decision, I went part time somewhere in the 3 months after I started my PCC journey. And I did that part time for 2 years. And it's now just been over a year a year and a month of exiting corporate altogether and doing this full time. And of course, it's a journey, but I'm
Yeah.
a journey in which I feel so strongly that, the investment that day was the starting point of this journey. And I know it's an evolving journey and there'll be ups and downs, but it's a journey that has given me that freedom to try new things, be the person I want to be. So for me, that was the personal shift, was creating my own brand, finding my own clients, the whole business. And I know recently I did a webinar for ICF Mumbai, and I was revisiting all our markers, the PCC markers, and I said, how would these PCC markers help me establish my business? And it's fascinating when you go back and look at the quality of the markers, and if you applied it just if you were self-coaching with those markers, even, it is amazing how appropriate and apt it is to all the things you need to do in even building your own coaching business. So for me, those markers
Yeah.
became very, very a strong foundation for me. Of course, on a personal level, I think I'm a much calmer person. Anybody who knows me will know that, especially my stepchildren will say, like, how can you be a parent, like, with this kind of shantified side of you? And it's definitely an outcome of coaching, because they knew the other avatar, the pre-coaching avatar of me. And my the younger ones see a different avatar of me. And I think that's what it does for you as well. It helps you to release things, let go of things that don't matter so much, have a very different ethos for life. I think the
Yeah.
biggest outcome is the self-work that has happened for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
I think.
that's something, Bhavani, and I wonder what the previous avatar used to look like.
Oh, don't go there. Don't go. And I don't want to go there.
Yeah, yeah.
To put it simply,
No,
Mani, I was a D on the disc. I was a pure D on the disc profile. And I don't recognize
okay.
that person.
Yeah, yeah. And that's some shift if you don't recognize
That's a
it,
huge
really. Yeah,
shift. There's
wonderful.
no D in my profile anymore. So that goes to show.
Yeah, yeah. So, when I think of this question in terms of shift, I've always wondered what does it require to really become a PCC? What does it demand from you? And I think those are the things which have shifted for me. For example, if I think about the kind of self work it requires, the reflection you have to do, the openness to experiment, to go wrong, and kind of be comfortable with that, right? I think that's something which has come much more strongly. The patience which it asks from you, because it's a long journey, and you tend to sometimes lose heart because things are not working, your sessions are not sometimes going well, and the kind of patience you develop, the resilience to come back. I think that's again, something which has developed on its own. You didn't try for it. The discipline which it needs for you to keep going, because you can't really quantify the progress as to what's happening. Because something is changing gradually, and overcoming those doubts, am I moving forward or not? I think that's something which has shifted. So in addition to, we have to talk about listening better, relationships have become better, all those things. But I would say one thing which has this journey has made me realize is this whole journey is about asking, and not rather looking at getting automatically. So when I think of this journey, what it has made me as a coach professionally, I'm more confident in asking from my clients, whether it's about asking them to pay, or asking for the terms which I want, or asking them to give details. All those kind of asking has become so natural. I think that's one of the things which has really come along with this journey. I think one more thing which I will want to add is we all talked about it, right? The competencies, there is nothing new.
Yeah.
And when you move from ACC to PCC, but what you see every time is a different meaning, a deeper meaning, a different aspect to look at it, and that gives you the sense of understanding that there can be many perspectives. That feeling that, yeah, it's not only one way to look at it, right? And when I think about this, when we say the client is complete, somehow I've started realizing the coach is also complete, and I think that's the beauty of this journey. Yeah.
Very nice.
Beautiful, beautiful Mani and beautiful Bhavani. Seems like, I may only be adding more words to express what you have already shared. Definitely, it has improved or brought a better version of me on the table on life, basically. And the ethos have changed. And this sounds more like a calling and an aligned work life. It's a way of life. It's not a work or anything. It's no longer about chasing certain time or in the usual stuff that you do it at work. It's a way of life, basically. So whether you're working with a client or you're talking to your family or you're randomly dealing anyone, I think the qualities of that coach actually shows up. And that wholeness that Mani was mentioning, I think the kind of fills you with grace as well as some kind of a containment. You're in a much better stable place to kind of interact and take on life whatever it may throw. Your response is a lot more in your control than haphazard reactions, basically. One point that I wanted to add was, I think when we took this journey at a ACC level, it was so much about, okay, I'm doing a certification, probably I'm going to get an outcome, but it grew beyond the outcome, basically. We all have taken volunteering leadership roles. It's kind of, we all are trying to contribute very naturally and organically in different spaces of the coaching ecosystem itself. Like Mani and me, we are facilitators, we are mentor coaches, and Bhavani, you are holding position at the ICF Bangalore chapter. So I think it doesn't limit us to one space. It's like the whole world is our a canvas, and we can kind of choose and do what we want to do, and we are connecting with very amazing similar minded people, and we are kind of, the path is unfolding as we are speaking for us. So that's something that I haven't experienced in my previous workplace or experience or anything. This is a calling, and this has a very different zing to it overall. So yeah, the last question. Why Regal? Why did we choose Regal? Let's be very candid about, why did we choose
So
Regal?
I'll go first on that. So I was anyway, I mean, like both of you, I was anyway part of Regal for my ACC, and I took almost 3 years to decide to go with Regal for ACC. So I started my journey in 2020, but my first conversation with Subhash was in 2017 about should I go for coaching. And finally, when I came, I think what kind of connected with me was, first thing was approachability. Someone who was willing to talk and not push you, to really understand, what is it that you want from this. I think that's what probably appealed to me the most in choosing. And I had spoken to people about some other coaching schools, and I felt there was a bit of push, a sales push, which I didn't find here. So this looked kind of right to me. So intuition. But once I came to know what was being offered, I think the kind of coaches, MCC level people, you had practicing professional coaches, which is kind of a differentiator for me. We are not having educators, but we have people who have experienced it, who are going through it, who are still doing much more. Like Rekha, for example, MCC, she's gone ahead and done her supervision. So she's not stopping at where she is with her MCC, but she's continuing. Subhash having done global team coaching certification. So these are people who are investing in their own learning all the time, and that's something which appeals to me, because that's what this whole coaching mindset is about, right? Talks about continuous learning. Uh, I think what also kind of connects with me is the curriculum is not very rigid. There is a curriculum. It's like loosely placed blocks which you can move around and create something new out of. It's like that. So you have a lot of flexibility. You have experts from other fields coming in and talking to you, sharing their insights, adding to it. So it's a very accredited kind of course in the sense, not just something which is defined and delivered. That's what. So I think those it goes beyond saying that the kind of support you get from community, the kind of guidance which mentors provide, all that is a given. But these are the things which kind of attract me to Regal.
Awesome.
Nice. So
Bhavani, you want to go?
let me, yeah, sure. So I think for me it's a couple of similar, but maybe slightly different reasons also. So I came to India for the first time. I mean, moved permanently in 2013. At that time, I thought of becoming a coach full time. I said, forget corporate, it's enough. But of course, I hadn't qualified. So I started searching for, who are the coaches around, Bangalore, etc. And way back then, I already saw Subhash's profile and Regal coaching and all of that. And I was like, yeah, maybe someday. And I somehow it didn't happen for me, and everything happens for a reason. I went back to corporate. I worked for 8 years before my kind of new attempt to become a coach, which happened in 21. And because of that connection as well, right, you kind of have this sense of, it's an anchor almost to saying this was the first thing I saw. So the only person I called at that point was Subhash, and I got into my ACC journey. And like you said, Mani, there's no real push. It was very soft sell. In fact, Subhash told me, just send me your recording. If it's good enough, I can mentor you to ACC. You don't have to do any ACC qualification at all, like training with me. And I was like, that's very generous, because most people will tell you, no, it's been such a long time. Go ahead and do your
Yeah.
ACC again. And that support continued, throughout my PCC. Every big decision I did around coaching, I had that conversation, either with Rekha or with Subhash. I had that conversation. Should I quit my job? Even that. Should I do my PCC? All of these big things, and you felt very supported without any kind of push. And I think that's very important, because then you are making your decision in a very supported but safe space. I think, of
Mm.
course, another big why Regal is, and I don't know whether that's true for everyone, but it's true for me, is I was, but especially the PCC journey, it was like you're removing the stabilizers and or the crutches. You're kind of now on your own, and because there is not so much, like you said, it's a very shift, kind of fluid content.
Yeah.
You feel like you are no longer, you're not being forced. Techniques and methods and this and that. You're enabled to grow within the framework of the competencies, and that, and many people like, give me more content, give me this, give me framework, give
Mm.
me tools, but there isn't. And I think that makes you stronger. That makes you
Yeah.
Mm.
stronger, because you really have to imbibe the mark, the competencies in such a way that you make them your own. Otherwise, what happens, your mind is occupied with this technique, that tool, this framework, etc., and you end up becoming, I don't know what you end up becoming, but it cannot be in the state of being, so to speak. So for me, that
Yeah.
was another reason. At first I felt discomfort, like, where are more crutches? But actually, when you look back at it, actually you didn't need it. And today,
Yeah.
the best coaching conversations I have is when I don't use any crutches, when I don't use anything. I'm just there, and it stems from that
Yeah.
comfort. It stems from that comfort of being able to just be there for the client, and knowing that it'll come. Whatever you need to be will be at that moment. I think that comfort I got from my PCC journey. So that's why Regal, and of course the community. I can't speak enough about the. I mean, some of my closest friends have emerged because of the Regal community. People I can call at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, and just vent. Have all come from this community. So there you go. If that's not enough, I mean, that for me is the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
So true, Bhavani. It was actually very frustrating at the beginning, right? And you don't have any tools, when you know that, okay, there is an P, there is something else out there. But then, Subhash and Rekha have always taken their hands off, saying that, no, you can do your coaching without any tools, and that's where we want to. So they're not against it, but they are not someone who believes that coaching needs tools. If you have tools, fine, let it organically come, but then you don't have to specifically go around and become an expert in tools to do a good coaching session. So what was seemingly a frustration is now a confidence that we can thrive in no matter what situation, what
Precisely.
cadre, who we are coaching, what level, nothing, because I think they've given that, they've let that grow very intrinsically inside us. Apart from that, I think I'm echoing both your point of view that both our mentors are very, very accessible and approachable. Anytime, any decisions, any idea that you want to run through, you can do it, anytime, just messaging Rekha or Subhash, and they will get back to you, and you can, have your personal conversation with them. So I think that was the main reason. I'm a sucker for familiarity. I like to move around people that I know. My life is defined, that call it comfort zone, but I'm okay being in that comfort zone because that serves a purpose, right? I don't need to do that extra research to go and, again, reacclimatize to a new place. Is there what
Yeah.
I look for somewhere else? So that got kind of amplified. And also I'm seeing that the ecosystem also is growing, right? Like probably what was somewhere around 200, 250 people, now it's a thriving 500 folks and more. And I could see still we can maintain that personalized voice. Like whoever has an interest to show up, run a book club, or do some kind of a brainstorming, everything is accessible for them. It's an open space for us to bring our ideas and do a trial run and stuff like that. So that way I think this feels home. This feels like where we are nurtured in a way. So
Sometimes, Priya, you don't even have to step out of comfort zone. All you need is to expand it. I think that's what
that's
you
true.
did.
So true, so
Absolutely
true.
right word, right word.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think that's what we have been doing, right? We've been expanding the roles we do within, outside. Our own expectation of coaching has also expanded if in our journey. And it's not going to stop there, right? I know you have done your um, ACTC, and I'm also kind of, going towards my MCC journey. It would happen. We don't know when,
Yeah.
5 years down the line, 10 years down the line. But this journey is continuous, and we have mentors who are doing that, walking the talk basically. So, that way, that's a good inspiration. Anything that we want to conclude our session with for whoever is listening, who are sitting on the fence to take the decision from jumping from ACC to PCC?
Let
I
me
think
just
the
give my.
only,
Sorry, go ahead. Go
yeah,
ahead, Mani.
I would say the only decision you have to make is when to start. All other
Yeah.
decisions are made. You just go ahead and sign up with Regal and you get the best in the market. So only thing you need to decide is when.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I was going to say the same thing. I should have done this,
Yeah.
in 2013. We're talking 12 years later, right? I mean, I got my PCC literally 10 years after I intended to. And so if it's, they say, right, the best time to plant the tree was 20 years ago. If not, it's now, right? And I think for me, that's that,
Yeah,
because your growth in the space of coaching starts with a strong foundation, and I think the PCC is that standard at the very minimum,
Yeah.
for you to really be that, a practicing coach, if that's what your journey is. And even if it's not, the kind of transformation in leadership that you get from it. So and I think the return comes back very quickly, because the shift in thinking and all of that, I mean, it's a small, I think it's a small investment when you look at the scale of the transformation. For me personally, I mean, I've got the foundation to build my coaching business strongly now, and it'll take time, but there's no going back. So for me,
Yeah.
that's a very important piece.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. Sooner or later, whoever is, serious about taking this as their journey, coaching as their journey, is going to need a PC certification. So why lose the momentum basically? Why not jump in right away and be
yeah.
supported in that ecosystem?
Can't
So
agree more. Yeah.
Yes.
yeah. Yeah. So
Thank you,
okay.
Priya. Thank you for holding that space and asking us those questions. Wonderful inputs. Thank you,
Yeah.
Bhavani.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Mini, and
Mani.
thank you,
Thank you,
Bhavani,
Priya.
and the listeners. If you feel like, you can reach out to us on LinkedIn if you have any further questions. Thank you so much. See you all.
Thank
Bye bye.
you. Thank you. Have a good night. Bye bye.
Bye bye.